I'm so great.
Tall Poppy, get down here.
Have you ever worked in an Aussie office and noticed something different and weird? The boss has a nickname, meetings feel like casual chats, and sometimes swearing is okay. If you're new to Australia, you might ask, how should I speak at work? In our previous episode, we talked about how Aussies love teasing and joking. Today, we're looking at how that attitude shapes the way Aussies talk at work and what that says about Aussie culture. We first need to talk about an important Aussie idea, the fair go. Aussies bring our concept of a fair go everywhere, from the sporting field to the workplace. A fair go is the idea that everyone deserves an equal chance at life and at work. The idea of fairness and Aussie culture in general can be full of contradictions. For example, we're serious about the concept of fairness, but we also take pride in not taking ourselves too seriously. That's reflected in our language. From construction sites to the boardroom, we joke around, use slang and nicknames, and even lots of swearing in a way that other countries don't. Our approach to what's fair dinkum reflects our long-running cultural fascination with folk heroes and the rough and tumble. Our words tell us much about who Aussie workers were and the challenges they faced. And words tell us about the tenacity and humor that helped workers face those challenges, especially the challenge of authority. Our modern sense of the Australian worker, and indeed Australian identity, comes into greater focus with our World War I soldiers, the Diggers. The Diggers traveled to Europe where, perhaps for the first time, they got a firm sense of what it meant to be Australian. Diggers loved the way bush poets romanticized folk heroes, and they tried to live up to those stories, including marching and chanting with swearing and slang. English journo Philip Gibbs said Diggers behaved as the equal of all men, giving no respect to generals or staff officers or the devils of hell. Sometimes this means choosing a good word, but using it in a bad way. Mateship and the word mate are good things in Australia, but it's not uncommon to hear someone call you mate when they're angry. Funnily, mateship may grow stronger when a bad word gets used in a good way, and Australians sure do have a reputation for using bad words in lots and lots of ways. Swearing has historically been associated with certain jobs, such as soldiering, cattle driving, and shearing. This isn't to say that Australians swear in all workplaces or in front of all people. Even historically in the shearing sheds, men tried not to swear in front of the women or the big boss. So, you might encounter shock and awe language in the workplace, but we can keep it clean and polite when we need to. Bloody oath. Fair go has been a pretty sacred concept in Australia. Politicians used to largely leave it alone. But since the middle of the 20th century, politicians have increasingly been leaning into the fair go. Sometimes that backfires when the average person thinks that a politician saying fair go doesn't pass the pub test. Pub test refers to whether an idea would be acceptable to a bunch of everyday Aussies sitting in a pub. It's common to hear it used today, whether about politics or life in general. On the flip side, Aussies also have words for people they think aren't playing fair. One of the worst things you can do in Australia as a boss or successful person is to be arrogant or up yourself and take advantage of the little guy or the underdog. A term to call out successful people is tall poppy. Tall poppy is an English term emerged in the 18th century. At first, it referred to cutting down successful people who were a little arrogant. But by the mid-20th century, for many Aussies, tall poppy took on a more narrow meaning. Many Australians had developed an insecurity and began to feel like Australia was inferior to the outside world. This has been described as cultural cringe. The tall poppy was someone who stood out too far, whether because the tall poppy made Australians cringe or they were envious. Clearly Australians thought they should be cut down. By the 1980s, this phenomenon was described as tall poppy syndrome, and we can still see it today. In the workplace and society, we keep an eye out for anyone who is a tall poppy or doesn't give everyone else a fair go. But Australians have little patience for people who aren't contributing what they can to their fair share. We've developed more than a few ways to call out this sort of behavior. Bludge is often one of the first Aussie words a newcomer encounters. In my research on Australian words, the bludger is among the most hated words and people in Australian English. Comments point to the disdain everyday Aussies hold for the bludger. One woman in our survey said that it was the most damning thing anyone could be called. Aussies' fascination with folk heroes extends to the workplace, and the words we use about what's fair, we believe in giving everyone an equal shake, a level playing field, a fair go. Even our swearing and casual way of speaking is often a way of saying we're all equal. I talk to the Prime Minister the same way I would talk to my mate at the pub. Like many things, our language is a work in progress, and we don't always get the balance right. Welcoming in people from around the world, sharing their words, and making sure we value their contributions in working words is a place we can all start.